certain movies have always kind of set the bar for creation effects and special effects over the years. We think about things as children. We dream about them. We make believe. But there's always a movie in every generation that kind of bring those special effects forward, and they're the de facto representation of what we always thought those things would look like in our imagination. I know for me, the original Pirates of the Caribbean movie kind of set the standard for what skeletons were supposed to look like, and all due respect to Ray Harryhausen and his outstanding stop-motion work on Jason and the Argonauts, that film was legendary. Reign of Fire kind of set the bar for dragons for me. No, I'm sorry, all of you young people that think that thing in the Harry Potter movie was supposed to be what a dragon looked like. No. Underworld gave us werewolves, but before the vast majority of that in 1993, Jurassic Park gave us dinosaurs. And they were completely and totally unforgettable. I vividly remember being in the theater the first time I went to see Jurassic Park, not long after it was released. I had been sick when the movie opened, and my family had deliberately waited to go to the film until I was recovered. 20 years later, sitting in the theater with my very, very good friends Kevin and Sarah, I was amazed at how well the special effects in the original Jurassic Park had held up over time, quietly accepting the opening few moments in the kitchen scene with those two raptors that looked really, really bad in high def. But the rest of the movie, the animatronics in particular, were still just absolutely stunning. It's still an absolutely pants-wetting moment the first time that T-Rex pops out of the paddock in the middle of the night and starts trying to give little love bites to the Jeeps and those kids. The technology that produced all of that is actually a really, really neat story. If you're a nerd, I'm sure it's out there on the internet, but you should definitely go look it up. All of that having been said, the original was, of course, just an absolutely fantastic movie. The successors enjoyed, we'll say, limited amounts of success. They had definitely some good parts, definitely some bad parts, but a lot of folks felt like they never really carried forward the magic that the original Jurassic Park gave us. Now all of a sudden here we are in 2015, and Jurassic World has been released, and the general consensus that it kind of takes Jurassic Park 2 and 3, The Lost World, and Jurassic Park 3, and sort of slides them off to the side, and stands as a proper successor to the first movie, which is a bold claim. All of the trailers and all of the marketing material stand John Hammond up in front of you and ask you to come back to Isla Nublar one more time to see the completed vision of his theme park and what it was supposed to be. And the question, of course, is, should you go? It's kind of a stupid question, isn't it? Of course you should go. Seriously, in what version of reality are you not going to go see this movie? Your attendance is pretty much a foregone conclusion. Dinosaurs are part of who we are as a society. They tick virtually every box required for a thing to firmly cement itself into our minds. We are drawn inexorably towards them. It doesn't matter what's going on. If the dinosaur pops up in your peripheral vision, you're going to turn and you're going to look at it. We all know that they're not real anymore, that they don't exist. You're still going to turn and look. They are larger than life. They are tailor-made for dreams and make-believe sessions, the perfect mount for aspiring wizards in Chicago, and in spite of their absence from this world, they still scare us a little. Children are frightened for obvious reasons, and adults are smart enough to realize that we are only the top of the food chain because these things no longer exist. Their legacy is felt in museums, on televisions, and the silver screen, on the internet, in classrooms, in books, in Firefly-class transports, and most of all, in our toy boxes. It's a foregone conclusion. First and foremost, before we get into talking about all the audio and the video, which is the next logical progression in these movie reviews. I have to give just a wee little bit of a shout out to Steven Spielberg. It was a neat thing for us older people to see the Amblin Entertainment logo in front of a movie. That's one of those pieces of childhood and growing up that you really don't realize how much you've missed until you see it again. And of course, I'm talking about Elliot and E.T. on his bicycle riding in front of the moon. Amblin was and still is synonymous with just a family-friendly, absolutely fantastic romp in a movie theater. So it was really good to see it on a great big movie screen again. One of the things that made Jurassic Park so awesome in 1993 was the breakthroughs in both CG and animatronics that they used in order to make that movie happen were just stonking amazing. Again, I can't encourage you enough. I'm pretty sure there's a story out there on YouTube that talks about all the things that ILM had to go through in order to make Jurassic Park happen. And it's really worth going to watch. Fast forward 20 plus years later, of course, the CG has only gotten better. The dinosaurs are almost universally gorgeous. And someone was intelligent enough to actually go out of their way and write in excuses, or perhaps explanations is a better word, for why certain dinosaurs look a certain way. It's very, very smart writing. It's very, very good as kind of a CYA tactic. Even in the really, really severe close-up shots, the dinosaurs hold up really, really well. If I had one gripe, I would say that some of the skin on them looked a little bit shiny. That having been said, that's not uncommon at all for the skin of certain reptiles, so I was we're picking nits here. Also, I can honestly tell you that I cannot, you absolutely can in the 1993 movie, because it hasn't aged particularly well in certain scenes, like the aforementioned kitchen scene. But in this new movie, I absolutely could not tell when they were using animatronics and when they were using CG. It's my understanding that the original animatronics artist, last name of Winston, I believe, is no longer with us. God rest him, and thank you for his contributions to cinema. But that the team that used to work with him is responsible for the animatronics in this movie. And really, the dinosaurs just all looked fantastic. They moved really, really well. No real gripes there, again, other than the skin slickness. And that's more of a personal thing than anything else. You're probably going to want to go and watch this movie at least twice, because there are Easter eggs frapping everywhere. Some of them are so obvious that it feels like you're being beaten over the head, but look, this is a reference to the last movie. Some of them are really, really subtle. There are lots of blink and you'll miss it little tributes to the other movie, and really very very respectfully done, very well thrown back to the other films in the franchise. John Williams' score is used to an extent in this movie and is still absolutely fantastic. Michael Giacchino is still absolutely not. There's one part of the movie when the theme is appropriately used. It's towards the beginning of the movie, and you absolutely get the feels when it goes off. It's a wonderful piece of music, and it's expertly placed, so credit there where it's due. The rest of the movie score is almost completely unforgettable, except for one rather tense part in the middle of the movie, where again he references John Williams' source material, but does it in the absolute worst way possible. One of my biggest gripes about the trailers was the poor handling of the John Williams Jurassic Park theme, and using happy, inspirational music for tense moments. The juxtaposition of those two things is just completely and totally awful. It ruins the moment. It takes all of the tension out of what should have been a good violin string moment in the movie, and it really, he should just absolutely be shot for being allowed to tread all over yet another franchise that is sacred to just about all of the moviegoers in the world right now. As far as sound effects and stuff, the dinosaur noises were all spot on. The movie was super immersive. In this age of home theater systems and this and that and the other, we'll absolutely be picking up the Blu-ray when it comes out. bigger is better. Go find the biggest, baddest, gnarliest movie theater that you can go watch this movie. And this is definitely one that you don't want to try to take in on your 15-inch laptop screen after you've torrented it from wherever. Go see it in the movie. A friend of mine who's an absolute dinosaur fanatic went to go see it in a Dolby Atmos theater and says, and I quote, "I can hear the movie through my butt." So that's awkward. Anyway, as far as the characters in the movie are concerned, there are three main storylines going on throughout the entire movie. The first plot line involves two brothers whose dynamic together was cute, but a lot of stock dialogue and behavior, and they were rather unforgettable, all things considered, which is a shame because the younger of the two brothers is the kid who played Harley in Iron Man 3, and his treatment of the script was absolutely fantastic. He was cute as all get out to watch. Your second storyline follows one of the movie's main bad guys, if there can be a bad guy, who is the head of InGen's internal security team, played by the excellent Vincent D'Onofrio, and my apologies if I'm butchering his last name, who was recently thrust into the limelight for his work as the Kingpin in the Netflix series Daredevil, which I've covered earlier. Great to see him crop up in another role. I really, really like and respect his craft. Again, a very cookie-cutter portion of the storyline. You know exactly where it's going, exactly when it's going. The only part of the story that's even that will not surprise, or that will surprise you, excuse me, at all, is the storyline between the administrator of Jurassic Park, whose first name is Claire, and who's played by Bryce Dallas Howard, and of course Chris Pratt's motorcycle mechanic cum raptor whisperer, Owen, who's Owen. Yeah, I can't remember what his last name is either. That tells you how important it is. Bryce Dallas Howard is hot and completely and totally forgettable beyond that. Her talent is completely and totally wasted on this movie, and her part is a complete and total throwaway. They spent more time on making sure that her hair looked unique in every scene than they did with her dialogue and her character treatment, and that's horrible. Chris Pratt, obviously, the bright and shining point of this movie from a character angle. The actor itself clearly has tons and tons of range, and if people could just play to that just a teensy little bit more, a little, just tiny little bit of Star-Lord crept in certain parts of the movie, kind of took you out of the element. But all in all, like most of the other work that he does, Chris Pratt did just an absolutely fantastic job, and especially given that he had to work with green elements and invisible elements most of the time. It's any scene with him in it is fun and definitely amusing, high value there. The storyline overall was good, but hugely transparent for any adult. The movie just wanders around with a gigantic foreshadowing hammer, beating you on the head with it as hard as possible. I mean, like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and this is even featured in the trailer, so I don't consider it rather spoilery. The mother of the two boys is giving them hugs in an airport and going, "Now remember, if something chases you, run." It's groan-worthy. No real big shockers in most of the story. There are one or two twists and turns that I will absolutely not mention because they are hugely spoilery. But what I can tell you is that Steven Spielberg did allegedly sign off on the story for this movie before the movie was put into production. And in fact, if the monkeys on the internet are to be believed, he actually delayed production of the movie for an entire year until the treatment of the material was up to snuff. So bully for him there and taking care of a hallowed franchise. All in all, just like the other Jurassic Park movies, I'm sorry, I actually enjoyed all three of the first ones. All in all, just real good, real solid movies. Keep your 5-year-old at home. There are definitely some darker, scarier moments in the movie. Keep your damn 5-year-old at home. Please, thank you, and all that other stuff. But all just a really, really, really good movie. Definitely something worthy of the aforementioned Amblin Entertainment banner, a summer blockbuster in every sense of the word. There are other things that I want to talk about, but they are spoiler laced, so we'll come back and we'll address those in just a second. So, spoilers. I know that these are supposed to be fun, entertaining movies that you're supposed to spend the entire movie inside of the lead fridge. But as an adult, I am completely and totally removed from this movie by the breathtaking lack thereof observation of everything that happened, even in the first Jurassic Park movie. If you put aside what happened in the second movie, if you put aside what happened in the third movie, and all the people have said they're not out of continuity, they're just sort of off to the side, and that the Lost World is supposed to be, Jurassic World. Too many damn worlds is supposed to be the peer sequel to the original 1993 movie. I riffed on this in the trailer review for Jurassic World earlier in my blog. You just can't get over, I can't get over how many really stupid mistakes you're making out of a result of ignoring what happened in that first movie. Wow. Chief among those is the Indominus Rex. In case anybody missed it, we're in the spoilers section, and I'm about to drop a really, really big bomb, which was one of the really, really, probably the single biggest, wow, that's dumb, why would you have done that moments in the entire movie. So seriously, if you don't want to hear this, you should turn the video off now. In any event, one of the big things about the Indominus Rex is that it's supposed to be a genetic amalgamate of several different critters in order to form a bigger, flashier dinosaur. The base genetic structure was taken from a T-Rex, and then they added in other things, and slowly but surely, as you pass throughout this movie, they begin exposing what additional bits of flavor were added to the Indominus Rex in order to make it the way it was. And they exposed to you that they added some cuttlefish to it, and they added some tree frog to it, and this and that and the other. And the big reveal towards the end of the movie is, oh yeah, the other really big piece of the dinosaur they put in there was a raptor. They based the DNA off of the T-Rex, but they also put a really, really big chunk of raptor in there. Now, who could have possibly thought, God, a bunch of the little bastards are a real pain, so let's make a big one. Not only let's make a big one, but let's make a big one that's capable of talking to all of the little ones. How in the world? Yeah. I just can't even form words when I think about that most of the time. The next thing I have a huge problem with is, okay, the dinosaur gets out of containment, obviously. You know the Indominus Rex gets out of containment. That's not really spoilery at all. It's in the trailers. You know it's going to have to happen because every single frapping Jurassic Park movie is all about something big and nasty getting out of containment. It's how the movie works. The thing gets out of containment. The island is loaded with 21,000 plus tourists that are seeing the other dinosaurs that are still firmly contained. And your solution, because the dinosaur cost you, what did the movie quote it as? $26 million in order to engineer. Your solution to this problem is, I know, there's that chair again. I'll do the WD-40 thing again soon, Mikey, I promise. One more time. The solution to this is to send your containment teams after the dinosaur with non-lethal ammunition. Now, No. Non-lethal ammunition only works when the person administering it is using a weapon designed by and for the person administering it. Non-lethal ammunition works on putting humans down relatively well because it's coming out of a weapon that's big enough that a human can use it. And it's using it against another human. So the round and the velocity and the physics around it. I know that I'm reading way too deeply into this for a movie about genetically engineering dinosaurs, but this bothers me profoundly. The one part of this movie from a weapon standpoint that makes sense is somebody finally wanders into the path of the big bad gnarly dinosaur, and they wander in there with an RPG. And what do you know? When they tag the big bad gnarly dinosaur with the RPG, the big bad gnarly dinosaur falls its ass down. So maybe not have only one guy running around with your dinosaur containment party that has an RPG, because that's... it bothers me a lot. Yeah. The other thing, if you're going to put a tracking chip inside of something, observe what we're currently doing in the veterinary world today and put the damn thing someplace where the animal can't touch it. He clawed, that's the other thing that they bring up in the trailer. Well, they clawed it. She must have clawed the tracking chip out of herself. Well, don't put the thing... I mean, if it's a T-Rex, put it in its breastbone where its little stubby arms can't possibly get to it. For everybody else, put it, on its back, or bury the damn thing deeply within its... sedate it. Put the thing at the center of the... don't put it just under the surface of the skin. We're like, wow, look at that. Bink! And then it's gone. That bothers me. The other thing that I had a huge problem with was there's again, part of the trailer, not so much spoilery. They while they're tracking this creature, they come across several of the dinosaurs that have been downed, and there's a touching scene where Chris Pratt's character is holding a dying dinosaur's head in his lap, and Bryce Dallas Howard looks on with a completely generic "Oh, what have I done?" look on her face. And they say that, they didn't eat any of these dinosaurs. It's killing for sport. No. That's what humans do. There are a bunch of different reasons why animals might kill, but they're never without a purpose. Nothing kills just for shits and grins in the animal kingdom. Certainly not any of the things that they engineered the dinosaur out of. I had a pretty big problem with that too. I mean, I know that sometimes sadistic gorillas and hyenas but no, there's no. Yeah. Still, none of the spoilers made this a bad enough. I'd say bad enough. That's not really fair. None of these spoilers made this a movie that I wouldn't want to go see. This was still a very, very good movie. I will absolutely have this on Blu-ray when it comes out. You should absolutely have it on Blu-ray when it comes out. It's still a very, very good movie. I would absolutely go see it. Go see it several times again. The Easter eggs are great. And it is... yes, of course, I forgot. There is a stunning setup for the next Jurassic Park movie. In it, and that's actually another spoiler. BD, I think his name is BD Wong, is the actor who plays Henry Wu, the lead geneticist in the first Jurassic Park movie. You would think after how that went down, again, he would bring some of the, you really shouldn't do this because this didn't work out so well for John Hammond 20 years ago. You would think that he would bring some of that special sauce to the party. Not only does he not bring any of that special sauce to the party, but whoever wrote his character turned him into a complete and total punk. I'm not sure what they were trying to do. I really not. In any event, that's all I've got. I hope you enjoy. And go see the movie, and I'd love to hear what you think about it.